Welcome in to Garbage Time Fantasy Football, the show where nothing ever goes right and we don't care anymore. I am your host, Ron Seymour, joined as always by Joseph McCann and Ryan Warner. How you boys doing today?
Ron, why are you not moving your microphone around? It's not like I didn't just see this or anything. Oh, there it goes. Yep, now he's moving it around again.
Sorry.
Now shove it in front of your face. It's
yeah,
a better look.
in front of the in front of the camera there. All right. On today's show, we are going to be doing bold predictions, and we got some news, and maybe something special that we'll get into after I hit the news button.
News updates.
And
we're never
first,
changing that.
No, I still don't like it very much, but
I love it. You're not
right.
changing it.
All right, we'll leave it. That's the thing from now on. All right, the first and the most important news of the day in the world, guys. This isn't just the most important news, here in upstate New York or New York in general. No, this is the world most important news. We now have a website.
Boom, you heard it here.
You heard it here first. Maybe. I mean, it was on our Instagram first, so maybe they heard it there first, but you heard it here first. You may have seen it other places, but you heard it here first.
Some people did see it other places.
All right. And that website is www.garbagetimeff.com because someone already had garbagetimefantasyfootball.com.
And they want $900 for it.
And they want money for it. And we're like, we're not paying you. We don't get paid.
Joke's on them. We're poor.
That's right. All right. Go check out our website, though. It is nice, man. It is. I'm looking at it right now. It is. Got all of our episodes on there. It's got an episode search. So if you're looking for a certain one, you can type in what might be in the title and it'll bring it up for you. It's just got everything. It's amazing. I can't deal with it.
You can leave voicemails on it.
Yes, that is the most important thing. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little blue microphone button, and you click on that button and you leave us voicemail messages.
That's right.
And we have some.
That's right. You can talk trash. You can ask questions, and we'll answer all of them.
We will answer and respond to all of them until if we get way too many in one set of time, then probably not all of them.
Guess we'll need a mailbag episode then.
Right. Yeah. Like a whole episode just for those. That'd be nice. I'd be in for it if we ever got enough.
Some other features I think that you forgot to go over, Ron, because, I'm going to just take this over now. You can also subscribe on the website too, and emails will be sent to you when we have new episodes. There's links for every other different kind of podcast variety. So like you can get it on YouTube, Spotify, Google, whatever you listen to. There's about sections where you can learn about how the podcast came about. And I believe Ron's going to be doing articles on it someday too.
Yep. I'm hoping to post my first one tomorrow if I can get it going. We'll have articles on there so you can see more of takes that right now only I have. I'm the only one that's written an article at the moment.
That's right.
And I plan on writing more, hopefully. I'm not the strongest of writers, but
we'll get him there.
I'm pretty knowledgeable I have a really good editing team. That's for sure.
Something else with the website too, Ron, is if anybody leaves reviews too, those would be very helpful because I believe those reviews are also uploaded to Apple Podcasts.
They are, yes.
Help us with a rating.
That. Yep. So you can leave reviews right on the website. You don't need to go anywhere else. And reviews will help us out a lot. I don't care if they're negative. If they're negative, we can just learn from them or most likely just dismiss them. But I mean, if it's a good negative review, we might take the feedback.
Just like a certain voicemail Ron might want to dismiss tonight, but we'll see.
Definitely dismissing that. We'll get to it. First, let's go through some actual news. Not quite on the scale of what we just went through, but it's news nonetheless. I will pass it over to Joe for that.
We're gonna just breeze over this story and go back into the other one really quick, which is Tua Tagovailoa threw 5 picks in minicamp practice. But as we've said before, this is just minicamp. Make of it what you will.
Yeah.
Then we'll drop the next news segment off to Ryan Warner because he knows about this team.
So there were some clips that came out with some passes by my boy Cam Newton. Looks like a couple of them maybe on a little high. By a little high, I mean a lot of high. But
Colorado high.
As high as Snoop, that's how high.
yeah,
Snoop Dogg high, yeah.
which I'm impressed to see that he has the arm strength to be throwing over people. Because last season, after seeing all those passes to people's feet, I was worried. So now maybe if he can just find the middle ground, hit him right in the chest, we'll be good to rock and roll.
If not, QB number 50, Mac Jones, is going to be starting under week 1.
Yeah, but I have heard Bill still in like his press conferences and stuff, and he's hard to read. He'll mislead people, but he's still saying that Cam Newton's way further ahead now than he was last offseason. He knows the playbook better. He seems to be in a better spot right now than he was last year. So I still think Bill's got a lot of faith in Cam, and I think Cam will be the week 1 starter.
Ryan, are you saying watching 20 years of vanilla Bill Belichick podcasts? Well, I want to say podcasts, but I meant his interviews, that you just don't know how to read them still?
No, you don't know what he's gonna do. I don't think anyone knows what Bill's gonna do other than Bill.
He won't start a podcast, that's for sure.
No, he's not a very open guy. But I still think I see them at least trying for week 1, probably at least. I think they do a couple weeks of Cam the starter at minimum, and he would have to perform pretty badly to have Matt Jones come in early.
That's what I like. I understand, like, he wants Cam to be the starter and all that. He doesn't want to start a rookie. But in preseason, if Cam goes out there and is just missing receivers and not playing well, and Mac Jones goes in there and plays well and is accurate, he's gonna put in the accurate guy. Like,
It's definitely gonna be something to watch in the preseason games because like Ron's saying, if Cam's doing truly terrible, then I mean, in fantasy football, I'm not drafting Cam Newton. That's for damn sure.
You know what's kind of incredible, though, too, is those two quarterbacks being on the field give different dynamics to their team. So I think Mac Jones being on the field gives higher upside to the wide receivers of the Patriots. But as a QB, Cam Newton, I think, has more upside because of his running ability. So it's just kind of a strange, funny dynamic. Everyone might not agree with that take, but I see Mac Jones as more an accurate passer, and I think would open up the game for some of these receivers.
And the interesting thing is right now, I think we still have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. I think we got Newton, Jones, Stidham, and Hoyer all still there. And I imagine at least one of them's got to be cut before the start of the season or before preseason. So it's going to be interesting what Bill decides to do there. Does he keep Hoyer there with that veteran presence, or does he keep his other young guy Stidham in there? But I think it was pretty telling that Stidham was never in the running for the starting job even last year.
Joke's on us, he cuts Cam Newton.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him just to get away from the controversy. Like, I feel like one of the worst things is having your guy go out there week 1 and, be starting and being bad, and the whole fan base clamoring for the next guy. Like, it's all it does is kill the one guy's confidence, for one, and then it puts all this expectation on this other guy.
I could see that with 31 other coaches in the NFL, but typically Bill Belichick has gone with a veteran, not just because he's had Tom Brady, but we've kind of seen that even when he's had to use a backup, the very rare sparsities he has had to use backup. So I think he's not going to deflect to the rookie like Ryan was alluding to.
Here's what I think may happen. And for fantasy, it sucks, but for real football, I think it wouldn't be a horrible idea. You have Mac Jones be your starter, but you have certain packages, especially goal line packages, where Cam Newton is in there because he's not the strongest passer, but dude is like 6'6" and 200 and something pounds and can move. Like, he scored a lot of rushing touchdowns last year.
Are you
So
saying giving him like a Taysom Hill kind of a package?
I was gonna say kind of like a Saints.
Not quite Taysom
playbook.
Hill because you're not going to line him up at like tight end, running back. He's going to be the quarterback at the goal line.
So you're saying he's going to look like the best quarterback in New Orleans?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that, JJ.
Get him.
Got him.
And speaking about quarterbacks starting week 1 that probably shouldn't, the Bears have still said that Andy Dalton is their week 1 starter.
That's right. The coach came out and said it, and Andy Dalton confirmed it too.
Oh, good, because he probably knows. It's all up to him, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he makes all the calls.
Right. Yeah. The
Mhm.
coach is gonna be like, "We're putting in Jets Fields." He's like, "Nah, I got
I'm
this.
out.
I'm in."
Yep. Nope. You promised me. It was your word. I know it's not in my contract, but it's your word.
No,
You told
Ryan
me.
Pace and Matt Nagy. I'm the starter week 1.
I'm the captain.
I'm the captain here.
I think that's another interesting dynamic too, because the GM here and the coach, as we've talked about a few times, are definitely on the hot seat. We were talking about them being on the hot seat last offseason. If they start off 0-1, 0-2, they are going to throw the rookie in because they're going to be looking to save their job.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if Andy Dalton is the starter, if they're not winning, it's not going to be long.
I agree.
And I also think that the rookie is a very interesting prospect from dynasty outlooks, which we will be starting in a few weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Ron?
Well, probably because we're doing our first ever dynasty league this year, and we'll definitely probably talk about more of that type of stuff once we really get into it. We'll probably recap our draft that we'll be having a little bit. Probably not every pick because
Maybe
those
we'll do it
rosters
live.
Rosters are deep. Well, we'll see what happens.
Oh, it's going to be a disaster.
Oh yeah, I am not ready at all. All right, do we got any more news?
Well, a little bit of news. So Jamison Crowder took a pay cut for the Jets wide receiving core, which is 5 deep. The rookie they drafted in the second round is looking explosive, but that's minicamp news. Could he become the default 1 or 2 in this offense? I believe so, but there's a lot of mouths to feed. So just hamper your expectations with that. Plus, he's playing with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
What do you think the implications are of that pay cut? Do you think it was a deal? Like you take a little bit less now, have a good season, we'll pay you more, or that you might be on the team longer?
So no, I think the implications behind that was, all right, so he was getting paid somewhere between 10 and 11 million this season, and this is the last year of his contract. I think he looked at the open market, saw there was a lot of teams that don't need receivers right now that actually have salary cap space, and knew he wasn't going to get half of what he was going to make right there. The figures for his salary cap cut haven't come out officially yet, and I've been looking for them everywhere. Any beat writer, hell, even looked on Twitter to see if somebody had some ideas. There's some reports that he took, I believe Rich Cimini said a very modest cut, and somebody else said almost a 50% cut, which cuts it down to $5 or $6 million a year, which is still more than what he would make on the open market this late in the offseason.
Yeah,
So
I
he's
think I think he realized that if they did cut him, he'd look at probably 2 to 3 million for this year.
Yeah.
So really, if you're Jamison Crowder, you're looking to have a crazy good season and hopefully get a big payday in the off season next year.
Do you guys know offhand how old Jamison Crowder is?
I do. 27 years old, but you would swear he was 40 because he's been talked about for years.
Right? I heard he was 27 years old. I'm like, no, he's not. He's got to be over 30. Like, this man's been in the league forever.
Well,
Right?
playing in an Adam Gase offense ages you quite quickly. So
Right, yeah.
It's like dog years, yeah. Instead, they're called Jace years.
it just goes to tell you
like
the quality of player he is, though, because he is probably the only wide receiver or any player I've actually seen produce in an Adam Gase offense. Not many do.
Yeah. All right. What else?
Jamal Adams is a crybaby.
Right. But we already knew that.
Dude,
Hell of a football player.
Yes, but big crybaby.
But not that good of a safety.
He's kind of a linebacker.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
he's one of those box safeties. They have a role, and
Yeah.
a lot of times it can be very important. Well, look at the Seahawks defense last year. He was missing the first 6, 7 games. He was out for a good chunk of time in the beginning of the year, and that defense was horrible.
Do you think
that
he's worth what he's
not
trying to
good.
get, though?
I do.
You
Just
do?
look at what he did for the defense when they came back. They went from like a bottom tier defense to a formidable defense. I know it wasn't all on him, but he allows you to change some other things about your defense. He is a game changer at the safety position. It just doesn't come from like interceptions. It comes from tackles for loss, sacks. Like you said, he's a linebacker that can cover a little bit too. Like
He's essentially a will linebacker at safety.
right. But he's really good at it. I think he does deserve to get paid, but you have a job, go do your job.
Well, they gave up 2 first-round picks for him, so you bet your ass they're going to pay him because they don't want to look
pay him. Yeah. How are you going to give up 2 first-rounders 1 year, and then the next year be like, nah, peace out?
I don't know what mind trick Joe Douglas did to get the Seahawks to trade 2 first-round picks in the 3rd when Julio Jones is going for a 2nd and a 4th. I mean,
well,
they got more
age.
for Sam Darnold than they did for Julio Jones. I'm just saying, though,
yeah,
for the quality of player he is, 2 first-round picks is a steal for Jamal.
That Julio trade too, like I didn't realize like that's actually a pretty good deal. Like I'm pretty sure Bill traded a 2nd rounder for Sanu.
he did. Yes.
He did trade a 2nd versus
which
Sanu.
hurts my heart.
Yeah, it should. As well, it should. Yeah.
Like, man.
But enough on Jamal Adams because he is irrelevant to fantasy football.
That's true. All right, are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
We're going to jump into a brand new segment. You guys ready? It is time for our very first and second voicemail questions.
Mailbag.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so
ready?
excited.
Which one do you want to do first, Joe?
We got to go with the one that came in first, obviously.
Good point. That's what we will do. Here it is.
Dear Garbage Time Fantasy, I have a question for you regarding the Buffalo Bills and their dynamic offense. The one question I have is their running backs. Zach Moss and Singletary both are not bona fide number ones, but I've read a lot of articles stating that Singletary has bulked up, but we all know Zach Moss is ready to take that position. Where do you see them getting drafted at, and where would you take them if you had the chance? Also, on top of that, I also have a trade proposal in a dynasty league regarding Daniel Jones and a later draft pick for Josh Allen. Now, to me, that just sounds like a stupid, but I want to know your opinion on where you think I should take, what later round draft pick should I ask for? Because we all kind of know Daniel Jones sucks.
That was definitely aimed towards you.
Oh, man. Well,
at least they're in the culture of fantasy football.
All right.
Garbage time fantasy football.
Right. Yeah. So appreciate the questions. Thank you. Please, we'll answer these to the best of our knowledge and leave us. Yeah. So let's break this down. We'll go with the first question first. Zach Moss and Devin Singletary from the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I was doing my projections. I actually projected Zach Moss to be the leader of this backfield, but it's so hard to trust either one of them. You got to take a shot on one of them. It is a high-scoring offense, a high-powered offense. You got to take your shot on one of these guys. Personally, my shot would be Zach Moss. And if I can get him anywhere from round 9 back, I'd probably be okay with it just for the upside. We don't know. They could hand him the reins completely. They could just fade Devin Singletary, decide they haven't liked what they've seen from him, and just give Zach Moss the workload. So, yeah, I would take Zach Moss. 10th, 9th, 10th round, anywhere past that area where it's more of a bench and see what it turns out to be.
For auction league purposes, how much would you be willing to spend on him?
Up to $3, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing much. Just towards the end of the draft, you don't got a lot of money left, and maybe you need depth at running back, and you can get him maybe for $2-3.
Mm-hmm. I think,
Pay attention. Hold on. I want to say one thing, a plug. The article that I'll be posting on our new website, www.garbagetimeff.com, is about running backs in auction, about the late RB. So just look for that probably tomorrow on the website.
It'll be exciting to see.
Yeah.
With that question too, I think you brought up some valid points about Zach Moss too, and honestly, I think he's going to win out in this backfield too. The only thing I think you got to find concerning with is in this offense, I think the Bills are finding a propensity to start passing the ball now. They're seeing how successful they were throwing it downfield. Zach Moss, I think, will get the carries behind a pretty good offensive line. The only issue you're going to have here is if Singletary is bulking up, he may steal some of those red zone carries. But I think he's shown he's not nearly as talented. So I would place my bets on him. I think he might have a pretty good season. He's not a bad bet, especially if you're getting him that late. He's a starting running back, and if he's having an ADP where he's going around the 9th round, there's no reason you can't take a risk on him there.
And not to mention, if Singletary was to get injured, it is his backfield alone, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So, instant upside right there.
And Ryan, what do you think about him?
Yeah, so really good question. And it's actually interesting because on Fantasy Pros, when you look at the ADP, you have Zach Moss at 100 and then Singletary right behind him at 101. And then
because no one knows.
Right. And so in my opinion, though, I think I'm kind of on the same line as you guys. I think I'm going Zach Moss.
Mm-hmm.
I think he definitely has the bigger chance to become the bell cow. I think Singletary might become more of like a change of pace kind of runner that will have the inconsistent touches. And then also you always got to still worry about the Zach Moss. Josh Allen, he'll rush for touchdowns, things like that. So I think 10th round, if you can get Zach Moss, that's a good value.
And Ron, wasn't there a second part of this question we have to address?
Yep. And the next question was about a trade where the one person has Josh Allen and he's being offered Daniel Jones as a late round pick.
No, just don't do it.
Yeah, that's a no.
Yeah, don't even consider it.
I mean, unless you're the one getting Josh Allen and
Right.
then
Yes.
shoot your shot.
I mean, if anything, that late round pick is probably more valuable than Daniel Jones, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
sorry, Ron.
it's a possibility, depending on who you pick for that late round pick.
All right, Mr. Giants quarterback's going to be a top 10 fantasy QB in the league.
Look, that was early projections, and it still is possible. He's got the rushing upside.
Not going to happen, but okay.
Wow.
Still possible, not probable. That's what I like to see.
Moving on.
All right.
All right. And we have another voicemail. This one's much shorter and a little bit less thought-provoking.
Ron, you know what's garbage? Your picks.
See, don't mind voicemails like this either. Look, sometimes my picks can get a little outside the box, but that's all right. You can't be right 100% of the time. Obviously, like this caller here, obviously is not right in this situation.
Thanks for that, Christian.
Maybe next time he can come in with a little bit more thought-provoking questions for us.
Hey, negative feedback is good feedback.
Hey, I like all feedback. Thank you. Thank you for all the feedback.
Your
Please.
picks are garbage.
Yeah, they can be. I've been playing fantasy football for 15 years. Trust me, I made some pretty garbage picks in my day. All right. Thank you for the voicemail questions. Please, 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 please leave us voicemail questions. And you can leave messages on our Instagram, which is at Garbage Time Fantasy Football. We'll answer those too. We want the content. We could use the content, especially right now where the only news we can get is crazy minicamp news that doesn't amount to anything really. With that being said, we will jump right into our
Bold takes.
bold takes. Oh man, words are hard sometimes. That's the next thing Christian will be coming at me for. Learn words, Ron. And he wouldn't be wrong. All right, Ryan, you said you wanted to go first here, bud. Take it away.
Yeah, all right. So I want to go first to make sure no one stole this one because that happens to me a lot. So I'm going to talk about a tight end. Finished tight end 17 last year in PPR leads. Currently ADP'd at tight end 16
Oh my God, is it
And-
mine?
PPR leads. So my bold take is Tyler Higbee will finish as a top 5 tight end this season.
Whoa. And
So-
Ron's pissed because I think you took his bold take.
Oh,
Anyways.
man, I would have totally have taken it too. That's hilarious.
All right. All right. Well, this is fine though. So now Ryan can say why he believes that's going to happen. And then when Ryan gets to his turn, he'll tell you why he thinks he's going to be a top 5.
Yeah, so like we've talked about previously, the Rams, they moved on to Matt Stafford, who, depending on who you ask, is an upgrade, which by that, I mean whoever you ask other than JJ. So we got an upgrade at the quarterback position, but also Gerald Everett has left for Seattle. So Higbee is the guy. And some people may have forgotten, but back in 2019, when Everett was injured for 5 weeks, Higbee went off. He was tight end number 1 in fantasy football during those weeks. Played 90% of the snaps, got 56 targets, 43 receptions, 522 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, if you project that to 16 games, you would get 138 receptions, 1,664 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Oh,
Now, I get that that's not sustainable, so you wouldn't see that, but that just shows you like the potential for him without Everett in this offense. And in 2019, 23% of all championship rosters had Tyler Higbee on their team. He won championships last year because of those 5 weeks. So I don't think it's actually that bold of a take to Tyler Higbee, top 5 tight end. He's currently going on as the 16th tight end. You could get him for a steal and could have someone that's going to might win you the league.
Here's what
Well-
sold me on Higbee. Go ahead.
I think we have a new nickname then. Tyler the Boss Higbee.
I was thinking Higbeast.
That
That's better.
ooh,
That's better.
Better. Here I am thinking I'm a genius, and you just steal the spotlight from me.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I do. That's why I'm the host, Joe.
Oh, Higbee. Oh, so
I'm
that's
so
why you're
happy I
getting
went-
voicemails saying you have trash takes.
I'm
Yeah.
so happy I went first. Now, like I probably would have cried if Ron went and said
Oh
that.
man, no, I definitely should have went first. Crap. All right. Well, here's what I like about Higbee. I'll just jump right in because I also had him as one of mine. I was looking at his game logs from last year, and he was only getting like 4 to 5 targets per game, but he was catching 4 to 5 targets per game. Like there was very few games where he had under like a 70% catch rate. And like Ryan was saying, Everett's out of town, and all of those catches that Everett was getting, which some games wasn't many, but other games was another 4 to 5. So if you can get Higbee with 8 to 9 targets a game, and he can catch 70% of those, he's athletic, he's big, and Matthew Stafford. There's a reason people are in love with TJ Hawkinson this year because of what he did last year with Matt Stafford. Like, Matt Stafford likes his tight ends. Higbee's a athletic tight end. It's going to be a good year. I wasn't
Yeah.
going to quite say top 5, but I could see where he could get there. So That's just what I saw. His completion or his catch percentage was just astounding when I looked at it.
Note to self: throw Tyler Higbee up on the auction block and let Ryan and Ron go at him.
The reason why he's a value right now is because he's going so late.
Right.
Because there still is the unknown. Listen, we're talking these people up as potential breakouts, potential, takes, because we think that these are situations that could happen. Don't be going and taking this and being like, oh, moving them up your draft board. A lot of this is because of their draft position.
So you're saying draft him if you miss other players at tight end.
Right. Well, don't be drafting Higbee over Kelsey. Like, come on.
Yeah. Don't be taking Higbee in round 2, round 3. Like,
right.
No, bad.
You want the value from him. That way, if he does whiff, you're good.
Hey, Ryan, would drunk Ryan Warner take Higbee in the second or third round?
Drunk Ryan Warner is going to spend like $80 on Higbee.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I got John Taylor for sits. I got some extra money to spend. All right. I got this.
Oh, that's good.
All right,
to answer your question.
All right, boys. Before I give my bold take, I got a question to ask you two. How many 1,000-yard rushing QBs has there been in the league's history?
Who?
Lamar
Jackson, Michael Vick.
Mm-hmm.
Are we
missing one? What if I told you I think there's going to be 3 1,000-yard rushers this year?
Kyler Murray.
You got him.
Yeah.
Who else?
Lamar
Jackson.
And Lamar Jackson.
Who's my third?
Are you saying Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, buddy.
Get on it.
So he's going to be the third 1,000-yard rusher this year. All right, hold on. Before you tear this apart, this is a bold take. Let me get into it, okay? All right. So like I said, in the 2021 through 2022 season, there's going to be 3 1,000-yard rushers this year. So there's one thing we have to not forget, okay? There's an extra game added to this, so that is going to help enhance that, giving more potential for 1,000-yard rushers. So let's break these 3 quarterbacks down really quick. Lamar Jackson had 1,205 yards in 2019 and 1,005 yards last year. He's going to get 1,000 yards this year.
Oh, he did break 1,000 rushing yards last year?
I believe he did.
I thought he missed it by a little bit. I could be wrong. I wasn't. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure he hit it last year too. Ryan can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but regardless, I think he's going to hit it this year if he did just miss it. Kyler Murray last year also rushed for 844 yards, which 40 more times in 2020 than 2019. You give him an extra game, he's going to hit that. And on top of that, AJ Green's also coming to the team, which is going to keep defenses honest, open the field up for him. And I think he'll easily hit that 1,000 yards. In 5 games last year, too, he rushed for, it was 301 yards. In those games, it was 34 yards, 69 yards, 63 yards, 106, and 29 yards. Over that 5-game average is 60.2 yards a game. In over 17 games, that comes out to 1,023 yards, which I think he could easily exceed 60 yards a game rushing, just because Kyler Murray's got the potential for that, and he's still figuring out the NFL. And what I believe with Jalen Hurts is he's just got high rushing ability too. You saw that in the – I'm sorry, those stats were for Jalen Hurts, not for Kyler Murray. He averaged out to 16.2 yards a game, and if you stack that up over 17 games, that comes out to 1,000 yards a season. So Kyler Murray – Jalen Hurts, sorry, has the potential for that too. I keep mixing them all up because I had too many quarterbacks listed. So those were Jalen Hurts' numbers, not Kyler Murray's numbers. Regardless, there'll be 3 next year.
I am not blind to Jalen Hurts' ability to run the ball and potential of being very good at it.
Well, at least you don't mix up his 5-game total with Kyler Murray.
That's true.
That was
one thing I want to say about Kyler Murray real quick is what he finished at with like 800 or something like that.
844 yards.
He also ended up getting injured towards the end of the year, and his rushing totals went down a lot in those games.
Right.
He was much more reserved. If he comes back out and, is a little bit more comfortable again, he could. I think he could. I don't believe Jalen Hurts will, and here's why I believe that. It has nothing to do with Jalen Hurts' rushing ability and everything to do with what we've seen so far as a passer.
Mm-hmm.
He's not very good at it. He wasn't.
Even with him not last year, Dan, simply do the math. 5 games, 301 yards at 60.2 yards.
It's never
an average over 17 games. If he stays healthy,
it's never
he can
that
do
easy.
that
Though.
again. It's over 1,000 yards. It's
never,
very possible.
It's never that easy. It's just doing the math.
Plus, he's not a rookie anymore, which means he's got potential for the offense. Now that he's got a full off season to be potentially a little bit more efficient in his offense. That's the argument you tried to give me with Lamar Jackson last year, and he still hit his numbers. So there's no reason that another rushing quarterback.
I was in on Lamar Jackson last year.
I understand you've been on him for a little while, but that's the argument that you gave me as to why he was still going to be a good quarterback. That's the same argument I'm trying to give you for Jalen Hurts. His passing ability might be slightly better, and the rushing ability is already there. They're going to have to stay honest with him. And with one more game of the season, he'll hit 1,000 yards.
The Ravens team overall going into last year is better than the Eagles team overall going into this year. It's not the same. And people right out the gate, that first game of the 2019 season or whatnot, and Lamar Jackson threw for 5 touchdowns. People knew right then and there, okay, we're going to have to respect his passing ability, which I know it's not great. Another thing, people are going to be able to stack the box and stack it good against the Eagles, especially in the first couple weeks, until Jalen Hurts makes them respect the pass if he can. They've all seen it on tape. And I want to bring you back. You're talking about, 5-game totals. He was so astounding in these 5 games, yada, yada, yada.
No, he was astounding in 3 of them. He was pretty bad in one of them.
Okay, fine. Let me take you back to the end of 2019. There's a young quarterback comes into play for the Denver Broncos named Drew Lock. Took the league by storm, was just playing outstanding. Going into 2020, everybody loved the Broncos. Drew Lock, was a sleeper. He's going to be so good with all these weapons. They brought in Jerry Jeudy. He has Noah Fant. He has Cortland Sutton. What happened?
He's Drew Lock.
Oh, he's Drew Lock. There's every situation where it's next year, he's Jalen Hurts.
My Lord, tell me how you feel about Jalen Hurts. Whew.
I'm telling you, listen, dude could easily run for between 600 and 800 yards this season and be fantasy relevant most weeks. You want to know how I know he can be fantasy relevant? Cam Newton was fantasy relevant last year.
Well, damn it, Ron, we called this bold takes. I gave you a bold take. Move on.
All right, go Ryan.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
All right. So my second take, CeeDee Lamb will finish this upcoming season as a wide receiver 1. Dak Prescott is back, which is good for every wide receiver on that team. In those first five weeks, CeeDee Lamb, 29 receptions, 433 yards. You project that to 16 games. You got 92 to 93 receptions and
hey, look, someone else doing math.
And 1,384 yards. Amari Cooper's inconsistent. He's notoriously inconsistent. CeeDee Lamb's going to be coming in his second year. Last year was his rookie season. Dallas, they drafted heavy on defense, but I still think that's a pretty suspect defense. I think Dallas is still going to have to score a lot of points. They're going to have to be airing it out a lot. So, and CeeDee Lamb's currently going as wide receiver 18 on Fantasy Pros. And I think he's definitely a strong wide receiver 2 with a pretty high ceiling, but I think he finishes as wide receiver 1.
I don't hate that take. I will say Amari Cooper is still there, and I think has a special relationship with Dak Prescott. I think that'll be the only avenue to him not becoming a number 1 wide receiver, but the potential for him is there, and at the current position he's getting drafted at. there's a lot of upside. So I don't think there's a lot to hate at the current position he's getting drafted at. So I call your take medium rare, but it's a good take.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. I don't know if he pushes into the top for the wide receiver one contention, but I can see how it might happen. I don't think I'll be projecting it to. Although with the extra game and Dallas probably gonna have to throw like 1,000 times this year just to stay in games. Wasn't Dak Prescott on pace to like throw for 6,000 yards last year before he got injured? Like
It was above
Yeah.
6,000 yards. It was like Madden numbers,
yeah, that's wild. Like,
and they were still losing games.
and they were still losing games. Like, that's why I think, because like if he's throwing for 6,000 yards, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup could probably all finish
Number one wide
as number one wide receivers. Like,
There's a lot of potential in this offense.
right? Yeah, like. But also with all those weapons, it makes me worried about his consistency.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't hate it.
It doesn't hurt to have pieces of this offense on your team, though.
No,
I think
it
it's what we're
doesn't.
getting from this.
Yeah. All right, I'll go with my second tape. This is quite bold. This is more of I would call a breakout because I don't really have a spot. Henry Ruggs could surprise a lot of people, and it wouldn't shock me if he finished as a wide receiver 2 this year. Nelson Aguilar left this team, opened up a lot of targets. The only person they brought in was John Brown, who, let's face it, can't ever stay healthy. Nelson Aguilar, what did he finish as? I don't know, wide receiver 29 last year. So that's
he had a pretty good season.
Yeah, that's just outside of the wide receiver 2. And Henry Ruggs he's fast. I mean, the reason he got drafted, he was a first round guy. He was drafted in the first round. So I feel like he'll get end arounds and stuff of that nature. I think they try to start using him more. There's already reports coming out saying that, they want to use him more. So I just feel like the opportunity is there. And Derek Carr, we've seen, has supported a good wide receiver. They just got to get it together. And I also heard that there was a lot of routes where Ruggs and Carr just weren't quite on the same page. Like it was just too far thrown or too underthrown. Like they just weren't there yet. It's a second year, and they're going to have a full off season this year to work out with each other. I just think that because of his top end speed and, this offense is, they're going to have to be throwing to stay in games too. So,
well, he's going to need some more targets outside of Darren Waller.
Yeah,
So-
Waller's definitely the number one.
Yeah, and a top 3 or 4 tight end in this league. 3. Ron says
I think he's number 3. I think it goes Kelsey, Kittle, Waller.
Waller.
I could see someone making the case that Waller's above Kittle, but
Maybe.
with all the question
with
marks
injuries,
rolling
I guess.
around, and all the question marks rolling around, who's going to be the starter in San Francisco?
I think I would feel safer with Waller this year, but
Yeah,
Kittle, I think, has more upside. But sometimes you just want that safety blanket.
yeah.
All
right.
right. So I guess we'll move on to my second take, right?
Yeah.
All right, boys. There has been a lot of heat coming out of the Washington football team's camp, right? A lot of heat for Taylor Heineke. But my bold take doesn't involve him. It involves Ryan Fitzmagic beating him out. Ryan Fitzmagic is going to beat him out and I think be a top 12 quarterback for fantasy football in 2021. Sorry. So he's got the 6th easiest schedule in the NFL this year. So he's playing horrible secondaries twice, like the Cowboys and the Eagles. He's got absolutely great weapons with Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel being there as a new toy. He's got Logan Thomas. He's got Gibson and J.D. McKissick, who's also a passing running back. And according to some stats that I saw, in half the games that he played in the last 4 years, he had QB1 numbers. So, I mean, follow the trails, man. I think he's going to be a top 12 starter if he is the 17-week starter with the Washington football team.
Is my only question to this: is there really people that think Heineke is going to win this job?
I think so. There is a lot of freaking heat coming out of that camp right now.
Huh.
And the coach is
I mean-
refusing to announce Fitzpatrick as the starter.
To give Heineke his credit, he played well down the stretch last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like, setting the world on fire or anything, but he played well. And I believe they were in that playoff game against Tampa Bay, like
Right up
right
to
up
the end.
through it. Yeah, they weren't blown out or anything. That team held their own with the Super Bowl champions.
That's because they're tough in the trenches, though. That front
Yeah.
seven on that
Oh my
defense
God.
is nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, their problem has been quarterback for a few years now, honestly. But yeah, I could definitely see Fitzmagic becoming
QB1.
number one QB in fantasy.
Not the number one, just a QB1.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not that
QB1.
bold.
I said a QB1, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Garbage time.
What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah,
man.
I could see it. I don't have a ton to add. I have my last take if we want to go move on to that.
I guess we're done with yours, Joe.
We'll just
Moving on to Ryan's, I suppose.
Fizzle out of that.
Just
No, I did see it. You guys made
Oh,
all the good
Ryan, do what you
points.
want, Ryan. It's fine.
Yep.
All
This
right.
is your show, Ryan. Do what you
All
want.
right. My nuts tate's not that bold because I didn't even have a third one until 3 minutes ago. So my last bold take is I think Dak Prescott doesn't miss a beat. I think he comes in. I think he's the top 3, top 5 quarterback this season. Like we've talked about, Dallas's defense still isn't good. He's gonna have to air it out. They're gonna have to have a lot of offense. It's gonna be high scoring games. And I think he's gonna be a top 5 quarterback next season.
So what Ryan did here is he realized he didn't have a third name. So he's like, oh, what's the easiest path? Well, I just talked about CD Lamb, how he's going to be a breakout. And we just talked about Dak Prescott. So let's just recycle all of what we just said. And I'll
Make a bold take.
make my bold take there.
No,
That's
Ryan.
liter-
Ryan's
that's
going to
lit-
be angry voicemail next week.
That's literally
I hope
exactly
so.
that's literally exactly what
I'm
happened.
leaving it.
Exactly what happened. So yeah, that's my
Christian's
not
going to leave him the angry voicemail.
that's my not very bold regular font tape.
That's going to be our new thing where Christian just blasts one of us every week in voicemail. Oh my God. Did you hear what this person said in the last episode? God, what an idiot.
Keeping us honest.
It's gonna be the angry Christian take
Yeah.
every week.
I love it. New segment.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, we can move on. I'm good.
I'll find a sound bite for it and everything. All right, we going with my next one?
Yeah.
All right, mine. I think mine's pretty bold. I guess you guys could tell me if you think it is or not. Mine is Joe Mixon is going to finish as a top 8 fantasy running back this year.
Not happening.
I just feel like Joe Burrow's coming back. This offense is going to have opportunities to score. They got rid of Giovanni Bernard, who was their pass catcher. I know the coach has already come out and said that he doesn't want Joe Mixon to be the third down back. He's the best pass catcher running back on the team they have right now. Like, I don't know how you take him out. Everyone was real high on Joe Mixon last year coming in. Joe Mixon got injured, missed most of the year. I feel like he comes back strong. I feel like I said, this offense is going to be high powered. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to score.
Not happening.
I could see it, and Mixon gets that bad rap as an injury risk, but he's actually played just as many games as Dalvin Cook has. since they entered the league. So I think you get Mixon at a really good value just because he has that stigma about him that he's an injury risk or glass or whatever. He's being taken as RB13 right now. So not like a huge value, but everybody was high on him last year before that injury. So he's going back into a pretty high powered offense. And he definitely has the potential to take a very large majority of the workload.
My issue with him is I don't think that he doesn't have the talent. You take him and drop him on another roster, he's got top 8 potential. But the issue is you're going to hear this year. And Joe Burrow drops back to pass, and he takes a sack. And that's going to happen a lot, too, because Mixon's also going to be back there blocking for him because he's going to need to pass a lot because the defense sucks, so he's going to be passing a lot. And on top of that, they're going to be stacking the box because they're going to be looking to get at Joe Burrow because that offensive line is horrible. For those reasons, he's not going to finish as a top 8 running back. Will he have fantasy relevance? Yes, but he will not be top 8.
So he only played 6 games last year.
That one game was insane.
Yeah, he finished as the running back 1 in one game. He was the running back 8 in another game, and a couple running backs in the 20s area. So he definitely has the potential to put up big numbers behind the same offensive line that he was running with last year, pretty much. Actually, I think they did add a few pieces, or at least one piece, I believe. So I don't see why he couldn't do it again this year.
All right, you overspend on him then.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think you'll have to spend. I believe his ADP right now is 3rd or 4th round.
I'm seeing 19 right now for PPR leads.
2021 rank ADP is 206. Well, this is according to the fantasy footballers. They got him as their consensus number 7 running back.
One of the rare times I don't agree with them.
But yeah, so I think he could finish top 8.
If JJ were here, I feel like he'd be tearing me apart. I think he's a Joe Mixon fan. Guess we'll find out next time he's on.
Yeah. Yeah, he likes to come on and tell us where we went wrong when he wasn't here.
Or Christian will leave the voice message saying, Joe, you're an idiot. Joe Mixon's awesome.
Joe, you're an idiot. I love it.
Your take was garbage.
Your take was garbage.
All right. So that leads us to my last take, right?
Your last take, yes, sir.
All right. So we'll talk about another running back then because they're the most important position in fantasy football anyway. So my bold take is J.K. Dobbins will be the 2nd highest rusher in the AFC, only behind Derrick Henry. The reasons I say this is I think Baltimore will continue to use the pistol a lot, which will heavily go to J.K. Dobbins' elusiveness. So he'll be the dominant running back in that. I understand they have Gus Edwards, who is a good running back, but he's not J.K. Dobbins. I think in this offseason, too, really he's getting the bulk of the work in their offense as 3rd down back. I know, like I said, Gus Edwards has a lot of fire behind him. People talk him up, even as a good value in drafts, which is true. But I think you're really going to see that talent come out this year. Lamar Jackson's rushing ability obviously frees up J.K. Dobbins, as it does for any running back in that offense. With Mark Ingram also being gone, there's one less running back to take away carries. And he's only one of 3 rookies who has ever averaged 6.0 yards a carry with no fewer than 455 offensive snaps. And that's according to SI.com. So he's got immense talent. It's going to show this year, and the kid's going to shine.
From a fantasy perspective, I think my biggest concern with J.K. Dobbins is just the lack of, and it has nothing to do with your bold take, but just the lack of targets, the lack of involvement in the passing game. I think that's the big thing that prevents him from being a top 10, top 5 running back.
I believe that they're going to get him involved with this again because they were trying to get him involved on 3rd down this year, which would allude to him getting the passing game. Now that Lamar Jackson has a large ability to get the ball downfield because he gets the yards with his legs and he's going to rush on 3rd down too. I just think there's going to be so much ability for him there, and they run the ball so much more than any other team He's going to get those carries in first and second down. He's going to make his money there.
As soon as you started talking and you said, he'd be second to Derrick Henry, I started in the AFC. I started trying to think of all the running backs in the AFC and realized that I can't do that off the top of my head, apparently. But the only one that came to mind to me was Nick Chubb. And I feel like Nick Chubb will have more. But the fact that
I guess if you want a versus argument, because I will look at the other side of this coin, potentially there's Jonathan Taylor, who I'm not a big fan of. You could also look at Pittsburgh's rookie, but they don't have a very good offense. Yeah, but they don't have a very good offensive line. But he's going to get a lot of carries.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some other ones Mixon because you believe in him. I don't.
Yeah, but Mixon will have more. He'll finish better fantasy because of pass catching work if that's the route that goes.
Why don't we come back to this next episode if you want to give an argument? Give me a list and see where you would put J.K. Dobbins.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is that because I couldn't readily think of anyone else other than Nick Chubb in the AFC, I don't hate your take is what I mean. I do think Nick Chubb finishes with more rushing yards, but it was just the fact that because I wanted to be no, you're silly, but I couldn't think of any other running backs from the AFC.
Right. And even with how
readily.
And even with how talented Nick Chubb is, and he is immensely talented. He is incredibly talented. Who's got the more talented backup on their team? Kareem Hunt, I think, is immensely more talented than Gus Edwards.
Yeah.
That's something else to take into consideration. I understand Nick Chubb is more talented, but Kareem Hunt is also immensely talented. He's going to get carries in that offense. He did last year.
Yeah. No, it's not horrible. I mean,
you
it's
want
a
to
good
hate my
take.
take, but you can't.
I do want to hate it. I tried, but I can't. I'm sorry. I was
So
really hoping to.
So that wasn't a garbage take?
Well, we have to wait and see what
Christian says.
Christian said, yeah. Couldn't think of his name. I think my mind's shutting off. Who's the fourth team in the AFC? Oh, never mind. I was about to ask a question, then I remembered. I couldn't think of the Miami Dolphins to save my life earlier.
Oh, JJ's going to be sending us messages after telling us to be like, how could you not list these other 5 running backs in the AFC? Not
probably. Yeah.
All
right. Well, that was our show for today. We appreciate you listening. I want to give a shout out to Christian and Joel for leaving us voicemail messages. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Even you, Christian. Thank you. Remember to check out our website at www.garbagetimeff.com. Check out our Instagram at Garbage Time Fantasy Football. Check us out on Simplecast, Spotify, Apple Tunes,
Apple
iTunes, YouTube at Garbage Time Fantasy Football. Yep. What else do we got? Yeah, just go check for us everywhere. And you can't find us, then you're not looking hard enough.
Subscribe, leave reviews, like stuff.
Yeah,
leave messages on Instagram.
Honestly, the best way to find us now is the website www.garbagetimeff.com. Go there. You can subscribe to your choice. We have it listed of where we are available. You can go there and figure it out. Leave us a voicemail message. Please write a review. That is what will help us the most when it comes to ever potentially doing anything with this other than 3 guys that work around each other's schedules to try to make these things work. We need the reviews.
We said 3 because you're not here tonight, JJ.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally just ignored JJ. He doesn't exist when he's not here. But yeah, leave reviews. It'd be amazing. We appreciate everyone that does listen for listening and our loyal people that we have. Thank you very much. And we will see you next time.